Hey, I'm Matt, and welcome to the Mr. Maple Show. So we often get asked, what is a witch's broom? So that's our topic for today. What is a witch's broom?
Hey, I'm Tim, and we greatly appreciate you watching this video. Make sure to like this video if you enjoy all this information we're putting out on Japanese maples and conifers. Make sure also to subscribe to our weekly emails on MrMaple.com, and make sure you're signed up to be subscribed to our YouTube channel. We have a huge amount of videos coming out all the time, every day at 9 a.m.
Hey, this one's a little bit different, but we often get asked, when we're talking about cultivars like Shana or even Blue Pearl, that conifer, and we talk about them being witch's brooms, and people say, well, what is a witch's broom? And so we're here in my Uncle Danny and Aunt Mary's yard, and we actually have an older Japanese maple that was planted probably in the early 80s here, and there's a broom that's formed on their tree. So we're going to show you what that looks like. We're out of leaf right now. We're actually in February of 2022. It's actually a great time to look for Japanese maple brooms because you can see the full structure, and it's a little bit easier to identify sometimes out of leaf.
So we came closer just so you can see this more clearly. This is a witch's broom.
Yeah, so witch's brooms and Japanese maples aren't very common, but if you know what to look for, hey, you might find one also. Our Uncle Danny actually spotted this one originally. We were a little skeptical. We have a lot of people say, hey, I found a witch's broom, and often they haven't. And so for a very close family member of ours to say, hey, I found one in my yard, we're like, hey, we're at your house all the time and we didn't notice this. But he did find one. He was completely correct.
And as you notice here, it looks like a squirrel's nest. Now these happen for a number of different reasons. People debate all the time what the reason is, but we really don't know exactly why witch's brooms occur. But what we do know is it creates a dwarf mutation in this tree. It looks almost like a squirrel's nest. And if you take a cutting off of this and you graft it and produce it, then you've got a dwarf version of the larger tree.
Now, definitely after you graft that, it has to be evaluated. It has to go into a process to see if it retains those broom-like characteristics. We typically watch one for 6 to 7 years before releasing it after we've got it on a grafted, healthy root system. Witch's brooms are incredibly hard to graft. Billy jokes that it's one of the hardest things you can ever graft, are those little twiggy growths off the broom, because they're very thin. They don't give you a lot of cambium, so it is the expert level grafting for sure. But we actually have taken some grafts off this. My late Aunt Marilee was so close with us, and Tim actually wanted to honor her by putting the name Little Lamb on there. So for Marilee, Marilee had the little lamb here, and just a fun tree we'll be offering here at Mr. Maple. It's one we're definitely sentimental about. Our Aunt Marilee was such a huge impact on our lives, being such a wonderful Christian lady. And we just wanted to come here to her yard and Uncle Danny's yard and give you a little piece of what a Japanese maple witch's broom looks like, especially out of leaf.
Now, just because this broom here is very compact and round, unless you evaluate it, you don't know exactly the shape it's going to have. After talking with Ken Twombly of Twombly's Red Sentinel, who introduced that, he found a round witch's broom that actually became Twombly's Red Sentinel, which is a tall, narrow growing form. But it has that tight, compact habit still like a witch's broom. And these witch's brooms are so unique. It's often that you find them in very old trees, but they can be found in young trees as well. But once you see one, it helps you start spotting more. So we wanted to show you what a witch's broom looks like, and if you find anything cool, let us know.
Hey, let's take a closer look at that branching and show you kind of what one of these looks like very close. So here we have a little bit closer look at Little Lamb. This is the witch's broom found at my Uncle Danny's property here. You can see that the growth often has this mutated type look. Oftentimes you'll see that the branching off the actual broom is even larger than the branch coming to it. So it's sometimes an easy way to identify a broom when you're looking at one. Is this a mutation? What's going on? It'll have some irregular sizes to those branches. Not always, but often with a Japanese maple witch's broom, they'll have a shortened center node. So if you've seen us talk about Shana, they'll have that middle node missing, and that's an easy way to identify one. Now, not all witch's brooms will have that, so it's not a characteristic that has to be in every Japanese maple witch's broom, but it's something you'll often see. Really tight, compact growth like this though, and you got to get an idea what you're going to get, but you don't really know anything about it until you get it grafted and evaluate it. And so this is one we've been growing here a little bit at Mr. Maple. We'll probably get it into production more and get it offered soon. We've been evaluating it. We've really liked it so far, and it's a beautiful green broom with some lush foliage. So we've really enjoyed that. But I hope you like this closer look at what is a witch's broom. Hey, thanks for watching our quick video on what is a witch's broom. We hope this showed you a little bit more about a Japanese maple witch's broom with an up-close look. And again, they're actually easier to spot sometimes even out of leaf, so we wanted to give you an out of leaf look at this so you can get confidence in finding brooms and then notifying Mr. Maple so we can help you name those brooms. Because brooms typically have very unique traits, so it's a very fun thing to find. There's a whole hunting aspect of brooming. We have lots of friends that broom conifers all the time, and they go out searching for unique types, and it's popular all over the world, so it's an interesting way. I often get people that send me a photo and say, hey, what's going on? I was in a park, I found this weird mutation looking thing on a pine. What is this? And you know, hopefully this will be a little bit more informative and help you see brooms, especially in Japanese maples. They may be a little harder to spot than some of the evergreens, but once you know what to look for, it's super easy.
At this point, we found 2 brooms, I guess the Cupid and then Little Lamb, or for us?
On palmatums, yeah. But
and
on
then Carolina broom.
Yeah, Carolina broom. And then maybe on conifers. I mean, it's
on conifers,
it's a lot.
we found a lot more.
Not all those have been named and produced, but I would say probably close to 50 at that stage.
And brooms are so fun and so different. One of our friends in New York calls them blessings rather than witches' brooms, which I find is a great way to describe them too, because they really are a blessing, because you can take cuttings from them and have that dwarf selection out in the landscape and garden. But we greatly appreciate you watching this video. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. And if you like this this video on witches' brooms, make sure to like this video, share this with your gardening friends, and make sure you subscribe to our weekly emails on MrMaple.com. We have a lot of neat plants coming out through there, and that's a great way to find out about what's coming out.
Hey, we hope this gives you some information about brooms. There's not a lot of horticulture covering brooms, especially in Japanese maples. There's a lot of confusion out there, I think, amongst collectors. What's a broom? What's a sport? Now, a sport, we may do a video on that once we're in leaf. That may be a little easier to identify in leaf, but stay tuned. We'll probably do a sport video this spring so you can see some of the differences in a Japanese maple broom and a Japanese maple sport. Thanks so much for watching. God bless.
And have a great day.